On MorningLine, it's our final segment with Glenn Funk, the district attorney here in Davidson County, talking about abortion in Tennessee, the laws, and his take on where we go moving forward, just 2 months after, it's barely been on the books. You wanted to finish up with a thought. Yeah. The last caller talked about miscarriages.
Right. Obviously, there's nothing against the law on a miscarriage. Nobody did anything to cause a miscarriage. And especially after a certain number of weeks of pregnancy, once the miscarriage happens, right, the woman has to go in for a D&C, which is the procedure that you have after the miscarriage. The D stands for dilation, C is for curettage, right? And what that is it cleans out the uterus. It's usually done in an outpatient facility, but a woman will need to do that. There's nothing against the law for the doctor to perform the D&C. There's nothing against the law for the woman to show up and and get the D&C performed. There's nothing against the law for anybody to have a miscarriage. The problem, though, is you present yourself at an emergency room or to a doctor. You say, well, I had a miscarriage. Well, did you really have a miscarriage, or did you take the 2-pill protocol and now you've got some issues and so you need to have a D&C performed? Are you now a suspect? And are you going to have to answer uncomfortable questions from either somebody from the Department of Health or somebody in the hospital or the doctor's office? That is not going to be the healthiest of situations for somebody to even have to answer those types of questions. But miscarriage, tragic. We've had some in our family. I mean, I get that. Those can be emotionally wrenching, but there's absolutely nothing against the law for a D&C procedure, and that's even written into the law.
A question here on, and I want to get to a phone call, so if we can answer this as quickly as you can, but Wesley's asking, under Tennessee law, does the father's responsibility start at conception? I think we've kind of touched on that. And he goes, is that when child support can start? 9 months before the child's delivered.
Right. We have not had any cases percolate up yet.
Yeah, I mean, you would think a mother at some point is going to file the unborn person as a dependent.
Because if I would expect that will be litigated over the next couple of years as far as when does child support start. Does it start at birth, or does it start with some of the prenatal type expenses that she has? Right?
Gosh, okay, what about frozen embryos? Fertility doctors being told they can dispose of unviable embryos, but now, is there an issue with that?
Well, and see, that's in vitro fertilization. Normally, a number of eggs get fertilized, 7, 8 eggs, and they're frozen, and sometimes you might use one, sometimes you might use all of them. But the ones that don't get used, that have traditionally been discarded, well, you can't do that because you can't throw away a human life. If you do that, then that's abortion under our current law. If someone, and so what that could do is that could either eliminate in vitro fertilization or completely change the way we do it. That'll make it astronomically expensive if you can only put one egg in the dish.
Right, meaning I can only create one right now because I don't want to risk having others that open me to litigation if I don't use them.
Right.
How about that? Think about anyone who, and in vitro has been a wonderful thing for so many couples that could not have children, and then this works for them. Let's take a call from Julie. Julie, good morning. Hi, Julie.
Hi, I'm Julia Tate Keith. I'm a lawyer here in town. I practice in assisted reproductive technology, and that was my question about frozen embryos. Doctors are being told you're not terminating a pregnancy, so you're not prosecutable. But from what you're saying, it sounds like life begins at conception. You're ending a life. That's prosecutable.
Yeah, and thank you. Yeah, I saw your comment was on Facebook, and I appreciate you calling. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's what she thinks. She's a lawyer.
Well, under the statute, and I'll read 3915-213. If we've got it, we can put it up. Abortion means the use of any instrument, medicine, drug, or any other substance or device with intent to terminate the pregnancy of a woman known to be pregnant, right? Pregnant means the human female reproductive condition of having a living unborn child within her body throughout the entire embryonic and fetal stages of the unborn child. I would think a clinic would at least be able to make the argument, well, it's not within the woman's body, it's in this dish here. But on the other hand, it's still a human being, and so can you go to other parts of the criminal law, such as a murder charge, right, which is a intentional ending of a human life, right, that's premeditated means you deliberated about what you were going to do. And so could that be, if some person who really believes in the spirit of this law and they can't get it under the abortion statute because it's not inside the mother, could you then say, well, the law has defined life as the time of conception, or the time of fertilization, and is it now qualify under the murder statute? I mean, that's the other issue with regards to abortion is, could some prosecutor somewhere in the state say, you know what, I'm going to charge count 1 as abortion, but I'm going to charge count 2 as murder, because this is now a human life, and you intentionally ended that human life, and you thought about it first, so there's deliberation, so there's premeditation.
So that would be first-degree murder?
That could be first-degree murder.
With life in prison?
Life without parole, death penalty. Those are the 3 options for first-degree murder.
And so there's, and again, so the options, as you said you could prosecute for abortion, I guess, meaning that you sought an abortion out, and that's separate. But then that you, on top of it, you could prosecute for murder.
Well, under this definition of life, right, and under our murder statute, which says
it would be this,
taking of a human life intentionally and with premeditation.
Well, real quick, we just have like 30 seconds.
Now, would a Tennessee jury convict?
Yeah, right.
Would a grand jury indict? I don't know, but under the plain meaning of the statute for murder and under this plain meaning of the definition of human life, that's certainly a very real possibility.
That sure gets your attention. If you were to be convicted, and I don't know how this will play out, if someone was convicted on abortion, what kind of sentence would that be? Do we know?
Abortion carries 3 to 15 years. Okay. Somebody with no prior record, it would be 3 to 6.
But first-degree murder...
First-degree murder is life.
Well, that sure gets your attention.
Right.
Well, they all do, but I mean, wow.
Right. But, you know, you get convicted of a felony. If you're a doctor, you're not going to be able to practice.
The end of your career.
And potential incarceration.
Yeah. Okay. So will you come on again after you go to this Washington, D.C. conference?
Sure.
You should fill us in on all of that, and we'll see where this plays out, and we'll look for the first test. Thank you for coming on. And as the one caller said, it's kind of a civics lesson. Right. Whether you are for abortion, anti-abortion, however you fall down on it, there's a lot of questions about the law, the way it's written, and how someone prosecutes moving forward. And DAs have different opinions, but they have to follow the law. So thank you for coming on.
Sure.
Really appreciate it. I'll be back with a programming note right after this to wrap it up.